Welcome to the library. I'm Derek and I'm going to be your host. Now before I begin, I know that like me, a lot of people feel uneasy on guided tours and just want to get out of there and visit the bar, so if it puts you at ease, you can think of me like the tour guide to the fifth circle of hell. Now what is this show? Well, a few months ago, after looking through my Steam library and feeling like my contribution to this earth was meaningless, I decided I should probably talk about the many thousands of games I own which I've never actually played. Or like this game, played and just wanted to talk about in a way which couldn't really be satisfied by a lengthy rant in the forums. So here is the inaugural episode of The Library. Spore. Now this is a game worth talking about. I remember when I was about 12-13, I'd play this game from the moment I got back from school to the moment my parents subdued me and gave me my night-night injection. I literally obsessed over it, and I've got absolutely no idea why. Now I may not have seen it, but something in the opening credits here made my alarm bell start ringing. Did you see it? Maybe I'll play it again. EA Games! We are in for a treat. Now before I carry on, now might be a good time to look at the history of the game. Spore began as a love child between the Sims creator Will Wright and the philosopher William Paley. His idea was for a game wherein the player played God, creating nebulae, forging galaxies from the pure might of the laws of physics, and generally guiding the evolution of a life form. His concept was not meant to be an easy experience, mind you, but a true testament to the wonders of the universe, and all the frustration manifested in its formation. Now that sounds like a brilliant idea to me, and at the time, there weren't any games like that to my knowledge. To this day I can only think of a few with similar concepts. So I've got to ask, what happened? Well, EA happened, and of course once they knew that their best dead horse was beginning to twitch, they decided to get out their shiniest poking stick and go at it with malice intent. For EA, the Sims franchise was one of their greatest assets, and they could churn out DLC after DLC as an infinite source of revenue, and people would keep on buying it each time if they could give their virtual selves a new CD rack from IKEA. And once they heard that Wright was going universal, they grasped his strings with their bony withered hand and began playing him to meet their every whim. The bottom line is they adapted Spore to be more like The Sims in order to capitalise on the profits. A smart move perhaps from a business point of view, but really a dick move for consumers like you and me. To compare the concept of Spore with The Sims is like comparing apples and oranges. If you put it this way, from an academic perspective, The Sims is like taking night classes on how to use Microsoft Word, whereas Spore would have been more like writing a 10,000 word thesis on particle physics. It just doesn't compare basically. So many changes were made to production, even a cute design team was created to make the creatures look more PC and friendly. The game went from a philosophical universe sim to a creative sandbox with cute animals. So what good, if any, came from this? Well, first, it allowed player creativity, as it promised pristine creation menu. It also offered replayability in the form of player-created models being used in other games, making no two playthroughs the same. And it also allowed you to make whatever you wanted, allowing complete freedom. The finished game generally holds up to these 3 points, but with a few restrictions. We'll get to those later. Now, what's bad? Well, you no longer get to create your own universe, as was first conceived. Instead, it's done by the old-fashioned asteroid hitting the planet. Also, the game became a lot more linear than before. Instead of allowing players to dick about with their own universe, they were left with 5 stages to play through. Cell stage, creature stage, tribal stage, civ stage, and finally the space stage. Here's where we come to problem number 2. Remember I said earlier that EA was trying to capitalise on the profits made by the Sims games? Well, they did fail to see one problem. People like the Sims because they can relate to them. Going about their lives, falling in love, etc. Well, how can people relate to aliens? They can't. They're trying to make aliens relatable, but can't because they're aliens. It's a cycle of doom that we're forced to sit through. I had a look at the 2005 beta of Spore, and it looked fantastic. It had 9 stages, one was aquatic, the creatures looked more realistic than what we were given in the end, and in the release there were only 5 stages. What happened? Like I said, EA happened. If there's a lesson to be learned from this, it's that EA are the full-said doom of the industry. They'll take from you what you love and walk away without emotion or remorse. Anyway, that's probably enough about the development, let's get back to the game. The options menu is pretty good. It has all the basics, settings for textures, lighting, depth of field, adjustable resolutions, a few audio settings, and an adjustable graphics cache size. It also has options for in-game capture, which I suppose is for the creature sharing aspect of the game, but I never really got around to doing that. So the game begins with you clicking your planet of choice. I chose the one with red oceans to represent my immense hatred for shit publishers. You have to make a few decisions before you can begin. What stage to start at, whether you start as a carnivore or herbivore, what theme you want, if any, your difficulty, the name of your planet. I tried a few names, but eventually I settled with the one I felt was best suited. Next we see a cinematic of how life on this barren rock came to be. And here we are. The first thing I can say about this stage is that I really do like the art style. Very tranquil. Your main objective here is to survive, either by eating chunks of stray meat or by partaking in the hunt. The smaller microbes make an adorable noise when they're being murdered. As you eat, you get DNA points, which you can use to add more parts to your creature, but you still have to find them first. You also grow in size the more you progress. Once you get your first weapon, the real fun begins. New body parts here are discovered in the form of DNA slabs. So this is a creature editor for the cell stage. It lets you add and remove body parts as well as muck about with the shape and mould of the body. Here's where you name your creature as well, so I chose one to reflect the personality I want mine to have. The more you eat, the more you can upgrade, so fitting with my theme of destruction, I decided to make my creature an unstoppable killing machine. It's always fun to see the microbes who bullied you when you were smaller perish before you like the whores of Sodom. However, it does get harder. Ah! So now that I've slaughtered enough amoeba, I can finally develop legs and go onto dry land. Here we see a timeline of our early history. Looks like I died a lot. Next we see the full creation menu. I decided to start from scratch for this. It really is like playing with clay when you're moulding your creature. So once on dry land we form a small pack and must once again hunt to survive. Yeah, looks like I found a race of slug creatures. What is it we do to mollusks, children? Die! 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 What ho, more slugkin! None shall be spared, not even the younglings! I have to admit, this is probably my least favourite stage. It runs a lot like an MMO, but with only 4 ability slots. That's a stupid idea. Time for another upgrade. I decided to go for the arachnid look, True Terror. So from what I can see, it looks like I either have to befriend or kill the other packs. Well, forget the former because I want to see some blood. Ooh, a griffin. Hello, Mr. Griff. Ah! Ah! Now I can bring a friend with me for a more effective killing machine. Bring the pack with you and it really does nerf the difficulty. Another problem is, Jesus Christ, they follow! Another thing I hate about this stage is that it takes forever to turn around. It really, really annoys me, especially when I'm killing something. So eventually I decided to try my hand at befriending another tribe, but it didn't go so well. Let's face it, white spiders cannot dance. What the fuck is this thing? Okay, let's try and ally with these bird people. Nope. Don't you follow me. Oh, looks like I need to eat something again. Ah, oh! I shall deliver you myself to the jaws of oblivion, abomination. None shall be spared. So eventually my pack decided to migrate and for whatever reason decided to leave me behind. So sooner or later, we become smart enough to enter a tribal society. Now the game plays a lot more like a small scale RTS than anything. Think Empire Earth, only shit. Like before, the objective is to eat, and also either to dominate or ally the other tribes. Like before, I chose the latter. So here we can give our creatures weapons and armour, hunt or tame wild animals and hold diplomatic talks with the other tribes. They wanted peace, I gave them war. Not a one was spared my wrath. For wiping out the unwanted ones, my totem grew. And we got some new gear as well. I guess it looks like I have to do this with them all, so here goes nothing. After fending off a few petty attacks, it was finally time to strike. Armed with stone axes, my kin advanced on the green menace and let out a war cry, leaving the foe in awe. We fought valiantly, put down like pigs to the slaughter. They attacked us in droves, but we fell valiantly. In a battle worthy of song, the great masters will surely speak of this day, and may our ancestors bask in the glory of our clan. You know, what does that say under there? I can't quite see it. Final thoughts. Well, to review, Spore is a game that could have been so much more. It's riddled with bad gameplay and can get tedious to play after a while, which is exactly why I stopped playing. But at the same time, it can leave me in stitches with some of the creatures people have made. It's a fantastic creative outlet and it looks pretty staggering for its time. It certainly earned its place in my library, even if I could only stand to play it once every 5 years. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time to hear me talk more about the games I have in my library.